going on.
Thank you so much.
Feel like $1 million.
Shout out TMZ, you up?
Let me check out that rig.
TMZ stands for the Mayweather Zone.
How'd you find me, bro? I got a bunch of scars on.
I love my TMZ family.
Welcome to TMZ Sports. Babcock here. The Dallas Cowboys hosted their former superstar defender last night on Sunday Night Football as the great Micah Parsons returned to Big D. And, well, it's clear that despite the fact that he is no longer a member of the Cowboys team, there is still a ton of beef, a ton of bad blood that remains with Micah Parsons and Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. Now, it was a super exciting game, which we'll get into in a second here. It was a super exciting game. Last-second overtime field goal ties the game. That's exactly where it ends, 40-40. I think both teams probably not thrilled with the outcome. All eyes, though, last night were on Micah Parsons. How was he going to interact with his teammates? And what would be said about Jerry Jones, and what would Jerry Jones say about Micah Parsons? Well, after the game, again, it was very evident that Micah and Jerry just don't like each other.
You know, honestly, I think all in all, the emotions for me being in Dallas went away the moment they traded me. The importance of the organization and that, like, I didn't even get to talk to my owner, the person that drafted me. I found out through my agent. Like, I just feel like, so to me, that emotion side was pointless because the same way he called me in his office as a man, he couldn't tell me as a man. So to me, that emotion side was gone. It was more about a respect factor at this point.
It's very simple.
Right.
Dak was indispensable in my mind.
Right.
And so, yes. And Michael wasn't.
How bad did you feel?
So, I mean, it's just numbers. It's that easy.
Woo! Okay.
Let's first address Micah Parsons' take on Jerry Jones. So you demand a trade. You sit out all summer camp.
Right.
You lay on training tables
Right.
as your
Nachos.
brothers are going to or eating nachos and telling fans in the stands, call me Atlanta Falcons, I want to out of here so bad. And you're mad that your boss didn't kiss your butt on the way out of the building?
Yeah. That's what he's saying. Yeah.
The other part of that, Jerry's side of that, is he proved exactly that last night. Micah Parsons was actually pretty good. He had 10 quarterback hurries. He had a sack, quote unquote a sack. Was a pretty good player. He did what he was supposed to do. And they gave up 40 points. So he's not wrong. I mean, having an elite pass rusher is always very beneficial. And it's going to win you more games than it loses you. But at the same time, my quarterback's indispensable. I got to give him the $60 million. I can't give you the $50 million. See ya.
Right. We have seen defensive ends wreck games, but the reality is a quarterback has such a massive impact on the game. And Dak last night, I mean, he made a bunch of huge plays. And I thought that the Cowboys would give up a lot of points. I was certain the Cowboys were going to lose that game. They didn't. And maybe that's why Mojo, who is a former Packers player, it's a sad state of affairs in Dallas these days, Mojo, as the fans are wearing shirts after a tie. But that's just how... When you haven't won a playoff game in like decades, you know, that's kind of the way it goes.
Yeah, and I mean, we got this new thing going on here at TMZ where we got this live situation going after this embarrassment that Ed is putting forth today. I think I want to go back to the old model where we just don't have him, because wearing your team's colors proudly like you just won the Super Bowl after a freaking tie is embarrassing, especially when you're a one-win team. Oh, humiliating. That's why I'm wearing my Maryland stuff today. I'm not wearing my Packers stuff because in my mind, last night might as well have been a loss to the stank Cowboys. A tie 40-40 at that high-scoring game. This is not at all what anybody wanted to see. Jerry Jones wasn't happy after this. Micah Parsons certainly wasn't happy after this. This stunk. And I would say, well, hey, you know what? Maybe we'll get this game again in the playoffs, but only the Packers will be there. So not likely to happen. Cowboys definitely not going there. Look, I know people might be hating on Micah Parsons. He had a pretty solid game last night. He's had a sack in every game, I believe, this season so far for the Packers. Granted, they've been half a sack, mostly as a former defensive lineman. I'm counting it. You still got there. You still made the play. Someone else fell on it too. Whatever. It is what it is. You still stopped the play. Saved that touchdown. It's just frustrating, man. So, of course, you're going to sound off after the game if you're both Jerry and Micah. This was a very, very public dispute. Somebody wanted to see, everyone wanted to see a win of some kind. You didn't get it. There's still going to be all those emotions left over afterwards because of that. The tie is probably only going to exacerbate all these negative feelings. As for Micah's comments, you can't expect the team to call when things were that nasty. For what it's worth, Micah at his position is way better than Dak is at his position, but quarterback, most important position on the field. I can understand his thoughts too. At the end of the day, I just feel so unfulfilled, Babcock. Just terrible.
Yeah, and we'll say this too. It was very clear that whatever perceived fracture that there is between Micah and the Cowboys teammates, I mean, he spent some time with Dak Prescott after the game. He was, kind of dapping up a lot of the guys on the defense and even some players on the offense too. So I'm not sure there's a whole bunch of actual beef there between Parsons and the players. Can't say so much though for the owner and for the player. They obviously don't like each other. Bad Bunny set to perform the halftime show at Super Bowl 60, but good choice or bad choice? We'll explore when TMZ Sports returns right after this.
Se acostó temprano, mañana hay que estudiar. Pero llamó a la amiga diciendo pa' janguear.
There it was, the announcement. It's a polarizing one. Bad Bunny performing in Santa Clara, Super Bowl 60. There are a lot of people who love it, and there are a lot of people who hate that they picked Bad Bunny. Lucas, that say it's just an awful, awful choice for a Super Bowl performer. It's the biggest stage that you could ever have in music, period.
Babcock, you and I talked about this last night as it was being announced, and
I think you said, I hope the rumors are not true.
Right, and here's the thing. Okay, let's look at the Super Bowl halftime show as it is. It is the biggest entertainment moment of the year.
Right.
Everyone watches it.
You've got 125 million people watching.
More viewers than any music festival in the world. So if we view it like that, there is no music festival on the planet that would not want Bad Bunny right now. He is the biggest musician, the biggest act that you could possibly land.
Right.
Now, that is undisputed. That is by streams, by views, everything, ticket sales, all that.
Right.
Now, I do understand what comes with that, though. I mean, getting Bad Bunny is absolutely huge for the NFL. Now, the people who are upset with it, the critics of it, will say, okay, let's watch this Super Bowl halftime show. I can't understand a single word that is being said. He does not have any songs that are English driven.
Right.
And this is this is American football.
Right.
This is something that everyone from all over the world is going to watch. Let's give them something that we bring to the table. Yes, The Weeknd did it a few years ago and everything, but for the most part, that is part of say American entertainment culture.
Right.
There's going to be the back and forth on that, but where it stands is the NFL is trying to expand the sport globally. We know that with the international games, and especially going to South America recently. I think this is NFL showing, yes, we are based in America, but we have a lot more to bring to the table. And if you want to do that, you get a guy like Bad Bunny. You get a guy who has hundreds of millions of fans. And while I can't sit here and name one Bad Bunny song, it does not mean that I cannot recognize that he is the biggest music act right now. So this is a huge get for the NFL. While me personally, I don't agree with it. I would have done something different. I do understand the move.
I understand the move too. It's about the NFL wanting to make more money. That's the only way I see it. It's not what the fans want. You're going to have most people who are going to be completely and totally unfamiliar with his music in America, and I hate it because of that. There was a million acts they could. I loved couple years ago back, Dr. Dre, Eminem, I love when those guys did it. Like, a bunch of hit after hit after hit.
And you say that, but then my parents didn't care for that one.
Right.
They never listened to that music. All they know Eminem is from the headlines of the bad things that he says in his songs.
I guess that's true. The reality is you've got so many people who watch this event, the Super Bowl, you're never going to make 100% of the people happy, right? It's just it's impossible.
If they were to get the Beatles holograms up there, there's going to be, the old people are going to love that. But then the younger generations are like, you're forgetting about the younger. So you're never going to make anyone happy. And whether it was going to be this year, next year, or 2 years from now, Bad Bunny was going to headline the Super Bowl. We knew this was coming.
Yeah, I will say this too. A lot of people have pointed and said, "Oh, I think Bad Bunny doesn't like Donald Trump, and I think this is the NFL taking a jab at Donald Trump." I don't buy that at all. I think this is entirely about money and expanding the NFL's reach. I don't think that this is the NFL taking a political stand. They don't want to do that. They want to grow the audience, like Lucas said. So I think that's ultimately what it's about. It's not about Donald Trump. All right, from the guy who is performing the Super Bowl halftime show to the person that everybody would have rathered perform the Super Bowl halftime show, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift had a busy weekend. She was Saturday afternoon in Santa Barbara at her good friend Selena Gomez's wedding. Star-studded affair. I mean, a bunch of big celebrities were at the wedding. T Swift then hops on a plane, Lucas, and she flies to Kansas City as she watches her fiance, I almost said boyfriend there, as she watches her fiance, Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, play and beat the Ravens in what was a really big football game.
Yeah.
We didn't see her, though. She was there. We didn't see her.
You got to take our word for it. There's no footage of it or anything like that, but Taylor's family was there. And usually when they're around, you know that Taylor is not far away.
I think people, tell me if I'm wrong, people saw her father Scott in the luxury suite with Travis's mom, Donna.
Yeah.
And I mean, we haven't seen her this year.
Taylor's brother.
Right? Taylor's brother as well. We have not seen her at all on television this year, at the games at least.
And part of that, a lot of people think, is a security thing, given how things are going right now in this country. But then also there's speculation that this could also have something to do with, and this might get really in the weeds for those who only follow sports, but the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni case right now, it is very ugly, and there's speculation that Taylor Swift could be thrown into this and could be served to actually be a part of this case.
And to that point, Lucas, we did a story last week that somebody was arrested at Travis Kelce's home in Kansas, right over the border of Kansas City. This guy was arrested, a process server trying to serve Taylor Swift at Travis's home. I was told, you remember a couple of weeks ago when Taylor was seemingly seen sneaking into the football game, behind that shield, that partition, right? That I was told that at least part of the reason was because she was trying to avoid this process server. There was a cutoff date where if she is not served by that particular, XYZ date, that she cannot be served anymore. So, is that true? That's what people around her, people who'd be in a position to know, that's what they've told us. But the bottom line is, like Lucas has said, we have not seen her on television even a single time this NFL season. But she's there. Terence Crawford ordered out of his car by a cop at gunpoint during a traffic stop in Omaha. The scary video and the details behind the incident are coming your way next on TMZ Sports. Welcome back to TMZ Sports. It was supposed to be a great weekend for Terence Crawford. Not only was the boxing superstar going to celebrate his 38th birthday, but he was literally getting a parade for him in his honor after that huge win over Canelo Alvarez in his home city of Omaha. Well, it ended with him being pulled out of his car by cops at gunpoint, and the entire altercation was captured on video. Watch this.
Stepping out, seatbelt.
Seatbelt, step out.
I'm opening the door. You can take mine off of me right here on my right. I'm keeping hands up. I'm not reaching for no gun, bro.
Step out.
Can I move my phone? Step out.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So this, it is about 1:30 a.m., technically Sunday morning, Saturday night into Sunday morning, and obviously he gets pulled over by police. How did he find himself there? What happened?
According to the Omaha Police Department, cops observed Terence Crawford, quote unquote, driving recklessly in the street. And then when they pulled him over and looked into the car, they say they saw a firearm on the driver's side floorboard. So basically near his reach. And here's quotes. For safety, all 4 occupants of the vehicle were ordered out of the vehicle at gunpoint. And they identified him as Terence Crawford. He was issued a citation for reckless driving. And then the passenger, Crawford's security members, was found to be carrying a legal firearm. So they said everybody was involved was legally carrying firearms. And now they've launched an internal investigation because I guess the optics of this are not the most
and he is so. I mean, I think Terence Crawford obviously really popular everywhere, but that's his city, right? I mean, he has remained there. He's never left. That's his spot. That's why they had the damn parade for him. Let's be honest. I think if ultimately this is like the cops say it is, that they seemingly didn't do anything wrong here, right? You pull someone over, it's a traffic stop, and then you see a gun on the floor, and there's a couple people in the car. I think it's kind of standard procedure to take everybody out of the car. Now, everyone in there, Terence, if you know anything about Terence, he is somebody who really likes firearms. So I think the gun wasn't illegal ultimately, and that's why no one was charged for the gun. He's given his ticket, and everyone goes on their way. So nobody ultimately got hurt here. I think, like Ed said, ultimately the mayor and the police chief, they just want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable with what happened here and nothing was done out of line or against the police department's policies. But I don't look for anyone to get in trouble.
For what it's worth, I've never seen a response like this. So the mayor himself released a statement on the matter and said that he was actually at Terence's birthday party in the evening.
Wow.
In addition to the parade.
Couple hours before only.
Yeah, like literally minutes before Terence Crawford gets arrested and gets pulled over and pulled out of his car at gunpoint.
Right.
He's hanging with the mayor at a birthday party. So
that's why he had to respond, Ed.
It's just a crazy, wild optics. And I think, like you said, at the end of the day, this is probably standard operating procedure. When you see a car full of guns and people in it, you got to be as careful as possible.
Before we head to break, we want to remind you that the TMZ Sports Show is now streaming live. Tune in weekdays at 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific on the TMZ and TMZ Sports YouTube channels and X accounts where you can join the conversation. But first, the European Ryder Cup team attempts to troll Donald Trump after their win at Bethpage Black. The president responds when TMZ Sports returns right after this. Welcome back to TMZ Sports. The Ryder Cup was about as spicy a golf tournament as you will ever see. Now, it started with Europe dominating the U.S. They were kicking ass on Friday, but the U.S. comes storming back. And on Sunday, this thing was super close. But nonetheless, the European team, led by Rory McIlroy, they survived. They end up winning. They end up beating the Americans 15-13. Obviously, this is a golf tournament that is played every other year. So now the Americans will have to wait until 2027 in Ireland to try and get some revenge. Now, because, again, this was such a rowdy golf tournament, you had taunts, players being taunted. You had a drink that may or may not intentionally have been directed or thrown at Rory McIlroy's wife. So after the Europeans won, they were in a mood to do a little bit of trolling. And we know who loves golf more than anybody? The President of the United States, Donald Trump. Donald Trump, who was at Bethpage to watch some of the Ryder Cup being played earlier in the tourney. So Europe wins, and, well, President Trump, he got trolled.
Are you watching? Are you watching? Are you watching? Are you watching Donald Trump? Are you watching Donald Trump?
I think it was a good-natured ribbing. I don't think it was anything that anyone needs to get all ultra upset about. But they asked a question, and I don't know if Trump didn't get the trolling aspect of it. He answered the question, so he goes to Truth Social and he says, yes, I'm watching. Congratulations. So there you go, from the President of the United States. Congrats to the European team, Ed.
Yeah, the trolling, I think, is almost necessary at this point. You touched on it. I've never seen pro golfers turn around to a crowd and scream, shut the bleep up.
Me neither.
Like in a literal tournament, and that's how bad things got at these events. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. So I don't know if the low road is what you would call this, but man, Rory did everything he could to take the low road. I mean, he hung a sign over Bryson DeChambeau's name after hung the European flag over it. He's making this video where he's trolling Donald Trump. I mean, they sent it.
Yeah, hold on. I'll rephrase. I don't like the drinks, and nobody should be throwing anything at anybody's wife. And by the way, it's kind of hard to, Ed was explaining this to me before, it's kind of hard to see, but the drink was in somebody's hand, and then somebody else seemingly hit that person's hand. So was it intentional? Was it not? We just don't know. So nobody should do anything to anybody's family or wife. That's way out of bounds and crazy. Don't do that. But I like the kind of the trash talk, especially in this situation where it's U.S. versus Europe. It's fun. I thought it was fun.
I do too, as long as you don't cross the lines, which I think some of it did. But man, the playful banter and seeing Rory McIlroy screaming at fans, seeing them back, that's what sports is. It's not supposed to be a library.
I agree. And now, and I know we got to wait till 2027, but there's going to be so much juice when the American team, has to go to. This is going to be fun, Mojo.
As you might know, I'm not the biggest fan of golf, but now this gets me excited. The team feel. I love every bit of this, all of it, except Team America losing, of course. Donald Trump clearly not fazed by this. He's heard worse. If anything, he actually might have been complimented that they mentioned him at all. So there might have been that. I'm sure there was a lot of Americans that didn't appreciate this, but that's what rivalries are about. I definitely would have sounded off if someone purposely or accidentally spilled a drink on my wife. It probably would have been way worse, but this was fun, man. They took it in stride, and now we're going to be excited for the next one. Mission accomplished.
That's it. Cannot wait for 2027. We're getting our revenge. Until then, though, we are out of time. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
I'm a lawyer.